Do you guys remember how Trump once said, if you just come out and vote this one time, we'll fix it so good you'll never have to vote again? And then Steve Bannon gave an interview, which if you didn't see it, please go watch it, basically saying that Trump will be the president in 2028 and that Americans just need to get okay with it. Okay, about that. They're not even hiding it anymore. If you guys want to hear my working theory about their quiet playbook, which they are doing right now, right in public, and the only things that we have left to fight back with, keep watching. And guys, you may hear one of these stories here and there on the news, but until you hear it all strung together like I'm going to do in this video, it's not going to make sense. You're not going to see the whole picture of what they're doing. Let's go back for a second. Back in 2018, Congress and the White House created something called CISA, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. And basically, CISA was created, remind yourself, during the Trump administration, to serve as the lead federal agency for cybersecurity and critical infrastructure projects. Protection, consolidating and evaluating the Department of Homeland Security's previous efforts. It was established to address the growing need for a more coordinated and unified approach to national cybersecurity threats, which requires more of collaboration between the government and the private sectors. Of course, CISA didn't run elections, states do that. But they acted like a referee, helping local offices test machines, patch vulnerabilities, simulate cyber attacks, and coordinate responses to foreign interference. In came 2020, when CISA announced that the election was the most secure in American history. And if you'll remember, that's when Trump fired the head of CISA. His name is Chris Krebs. Now fast forward to 2025. After the government shutdown on 1 October, DHS quietly laid off hundreds of CISA employees, specifically from the Stakeholder Engagement Division. And that was the team that worked directly with the county clerks and state election officials. And that division was the bridge between Washington and the people actually running the elections on the ground. Now, gone. So again, those are the people who tracked hacking attempts, ran system tests, sidelined. And as we head towards the 2026 midterms, we'll be doing so without the team that kept the system honest. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Trump-aligned consultant Scott Leyendecker quietly buys Dominion Voting and rebrands it as Liberty Voting. Yes, that Dominion, the one that was at the epicenter of the 2020 election scandal. And if you haven't seen my other videos about it, this is a fun time to mention that Scott Leyendecker also owns No Ink. He owns the poll pads that you check in when you scan your ID when you check in to vote. So imagine that one person who is Trump-aligned now owns both the front and the back end of voting. And if those poll pads glitch, as they have many times before, voters can be told that they're not in the system or forced to cast a provisional ballot, or maybe they just have to stand in line for hours and hours on end, which of course affects voter engagement. You know, because people have a life outside of voting. And with CISA gone, who's left to catch it? If you made it this far in the video, don't forget to like, repost, and follow for updates. And leave the secret words, "Voting is my superpower," in the comment section. And guys, if you enjoy my content, please go follow me over here on YouTube because, well, you know what's happening on TikTok to creators who lean left. Then there's the policy arm. A woman named Heather Honey, a Pennsylvania activist well known for pushing election fraud conspiracy theories. But in August of 2025, Trump appointed her Deputy Assistant Secretary for Election Integrity at DHS. What's that? Yes, that's a brand new role overseeing national election policy. And earlier this year, someone leaked her speaking in a meeting, suggesting that Trump could basically just declare national emergency. She said, yeah, maybe over like 2020 election fraud claims, giving him power to dictate how states run their elections. Under the National Emergencies Act, that kind of move could allow the president to bypass Congress and impose federal rules for voting, from voter ID law restrictions to mail-in ballot restrictions. And this is a good time to remind you that if mail-in ballots are suddenly disqualified, then tons and tons of people in 27 states, to be specific, would now have to vote through Liberty voting machines. And that is how you tighten control from every angle: the rules, the oversight, and the technology. And at the same time, as you are all well aware, Trump is encouraging every red state to gerrymander the shit out of these upcoming elections. And then there's that fun little fact about the case that was just heard in front of the Supreme Court, which I'm sure will be decided upon before the elections, where they're basically asking to allow the Supreme Court to gut majority-minority districts. Translation: Republicans immediately pick up roughly 20 seats that they would hold forever. And while that's happening, of course, the Trump administration is leaning all over the states to turn over their voter rolls, which of course many states are pushing back on, blue states, Because on paper, they say it's about cleaning up the voter rolls. In practice, it's a tactic to remove active, legitimate voters just in time for the next election. So let's recap. Trump created CISA, then destroyed it when it told the truth. His allies now control the machines that both check you in and count your vote. A known election denier is shaping federal election policy. The Supreme Court is poised to basically bless extreme gerrymandering. And of course, there's a coordinated effort to purge voter rolls, which is already well underway. This isn't theory, guys. This is a paper trail of decisions, hires, sales, and policies that all point to one thing: quiet, systematic capture of the process itself. What can you do? Vote early. If you can vote by mail, do it. Work the polls. Volunteer to give rides to people who didn't vote early, and push the ever-loving shit out of your state lawmakers to retain paper ballots and audits. I created, it's just like a Word document that has all the links and all the steps for things that everybody needs to do. I want you guys to print it out, share it with a friend, do whatever. It's free. Go share it with the world, okay? Because guys, that is the only check that we have left, is to make sure that people that we on our side are at the polls, right? That your vote is being counted, that you are even still registered to vote, and that you make sure that you help other people get out to vote. So I know this is overwhelming, but this is not the time to tune out. This is the time to lock in.